Good evening. It is Wednesday night, and tomorrow is going to be summer. And how do I know that? Because today is June 19th, and that means tomorrow's June 20th, and it's going to be summer. I look at this garden, and part of it's planted, not all of it's planted, and that makes me sad, but I also know why. First of all, the weather has been crazy. We had, by this time this year, on a normal year, I would already have this garden would have been planted by Memorial Day weekend. But we had a freeze warning Memorial Day weekend, and it got to be 30 degrees here at my house. That made me really shy about putting anything out for a little while. And then it got to be 90 degrees, which these plants don't like 90 any better than they like 30. So it's taken me a little time, put them in when the weather was a little cooler. And so we're just about there. I know, I keep saying that every single time that you turn on a video. I'm saying we're just about there. Well, we are just about. But I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things. I teased you about planting tomatoes on the video that we did earlier in the week, and I will include that in this video. But I wanted to talk to you about two other things before that. First of all, what do we have planted in the garden? I have peppers planted, and I have squash planted, and I've got cabbage planted, and the beets are planted. Yeah. No tomatoes, no melon. You think what else? Very few flowers, a few flowers, not very many. So I'm still dragging. No rutabaga for Kaylee, or no, it wasn't Kaylee, it was her mom that wanted rutabaga. I think we're also putting two others, some kind of strange root vegetable that Brienne wanted. So those aren't planted yet, but it's okay. They'll come up. Our season here will probably last until the end of October anyway. Usually we won't have our first freeze until the first part of November. So we'll be fine. The garden will grow and we'll get a good harvest. It's just taking a lot longer than I thought it would. So what do I want to talk about? Well, I want to talk to you about the beets. Saturday, we got the beets, and Kaylee and I, we gave a third of them to my mom on Friday night, and she got part of hers planted Friday night, and then Saturday morning she planted the rest of them, and then she told me to go ahead and plant the rest of them. Okay, great, I'll do that. So what did I say? We had 400 beet seeds that we planted. And I think every stinking beet seed came up. So I don't know if you remember, maybe you can go back at some of the videos that we did last year and later in the season, but I had those green grow bags that we put in kiddie pools to keep the moisture in them. And I planted 5 of those in beets. Yeah, 5. Looks like a lot of beets to me, but we'll find a home for them. We'll find some way to preserve them, and we'll be eating them when it's cold in the wintertime. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about that, so we got them prepared and we started putting them in. And the more I put in, the more I thought, I got to do this a little faster, because they started getting feel a little brittle. And so then I was really worried that maybe this was going to be a fail and it wasn't going to work. But we went ahead and got them all planted. And then I have gone out. You have to keep them moist. I kind of found that out. Oh, I got a bee. Quit. Anyway, you got to keep them moist. So I go out in the morning before I go to work, and then I come out after I get off work, and then I come out at night and I water them again. And I think that will probably be just until they get hold and those little root balls start, grab them onto the soil. But until then, you've got to keep them wet. You've just, not soppy wet, but you've got to keep them moist. And when it's 90-degree weather in Utah, that is a chore. So just keep that in mind if you want to try that, which I think it's going to be successful, but it does take a little bit of work, even after you get them planted. And then, and I'll show you a picture of those as soon as they all look a lot better than they do right now, because I don't want to show you something that's ugly. Yeah, maybe I'll show you something that's ugly. I know, I'm honest. I'm honest to a fault. But what I've been planning this week has been peppers and squash and more peppers and more squash and even more peppers. I don't know what we were thinking when we kept buying. No, it's not we, it's me. I'm the only one that buys these, so it's my fault. We've got banana peppers, and we've got Anaheims, and we've got jalapenos, and we've got sweet jalapenos, which is a new type pepper. I've never tried those before. And we've got 2 different kinds of green sweet peppers. California Wonder, and then something that started with a B. I don't remember what it was. I'm sure it'll come to me in my old age. No, I'm not old yet. And then we did some rainbow peppers for Kaylee, and she's pretty excited about those. I did plant 1 6-pack of what's called a Big Jim. They're supposed to be a little bit like a cayenne pepper. We'll see. I've never done those before. So there's a lot of peppers in this garden, and there's a lot of squash. There's zucchini, and there's 2 different kinds of yellow squash. One that's made by Gurney that's supposed to grow vertically instead of horizontally, and we'll see how that works. It'll be a little bit like when we staked them last year. And another one that is supposed to just be really good for our area. And then I've planted banana squash and spaghetti squash and butternut. So butternut, spaghetti, and banana squash are all new to me. I don't usually plant squash because in a container garden or a raised bed garden, you don't usually have enough room. But this year, we're going to grow them up some trellises, and we'll see how that works. And I understand that if you will keep all of your pantyhose, yes, gentlemen, this is for you. No, if you'll keep all your pantyhose that you've put runs in, and you use them as cradles, when the squash get bigger, you take those and you cradle them in those pantyhose, and you tie the pantyhose to your trellis. And it lets them grow because those pantyhose will, stretch out. But it will also allow them to be supported, and so they'll continue to grow. And so we'll see. We're going to try that. We'll see if that works. Today, I kind of gave you a little bit of a sneak, I think in the last video I did. I was telling you that I was going to show you how once again, I keep saying we, and I don't know who else I'm talking about because it's just me. But anyway, I'm going to plant some tomatoes tonight, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. 4 things I always add into my tomatoes when I plant them. I put in some of that Osmocote fertilizer, like I talked about in the previous video. I put some of the soil additive. I grind up an aspirin, regular aspirin, cheap aspirin. Well, it's probably not cheap anymore because nothing's cheap. But a bottle of regular aspirin, not coated, not Tylenol, not ibuprofen, but aspirin. So I grind up an aspirin. I grind up a antacid, and if it's a Tums type antacid. And I put a sprinkle of, it's magnesium. Oh, it's Epsom salt. I put those in there. They go down in the bottom of the hole before I put the plant in. I covered all of that up with some dirt so that the roots are not directly on to that mixture. And then I plant the tomato plant, and then I backfill it, and it grows. And I know, like I said the other day, I'm hearing from some people, oh, Epsom salts doesn't work. Well, maybe it doesn't work for some people. For me, it works. And my tomatoes are bigger. I feel they need magnesium in this soil that I have, I guess. I don't know. It's just that I grow much better tomato plants when I do that mixture. So it's just a recipe. If you're up for it, just pick those up. They're all fairly inexpensive, and I promise you they do wonderful things for tomato plants. But the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, and this is just kind of a preview. In the last week, I have had to come out here and water what is planted in this garden. It takes about an hour to an hour and a half, whether it's in the morning or whether it's at night. And that is a lot of watering. No, everything's got to be watered. It's not that it's an abnormal amount of watering. It's just that it's just one person trying to do all this. And every single year I seem to increase the size, whether it's through grow bags or whether it's through containers, whatever it is. And so I decided in all my infinite wisdom, that I'm going to put a sprinkling system into my raised beds. And I'm going to run it with PVC pipe and bring it up into the beds. And then I will affix the black, oh, I don't even know what it's called, but it's that black rubber hose, not rubber hose, but that it's a PVC, but it's pliable, like we put in the berry patch last year when we were running the water line. And so we'll run that attached to the PVC pipe, and then it'll go out into funny pipe with little either soaker hoses or with little pop-ups. And I think that it'll be really a water saver. It will also be a time saver, because I can go out there and turn the water on to 4 or 5 different grow beds and let them go, the raised beds, and let them go while I'm watering something else. And so I'm going to just start with the wooden raised beds that I have here in the main part of my garden. And then I'm going to, if that works, which I'm pretty sure it's going to work, then I'm going to enlarge it, and I'll put it to some of the other containers, like that big grow bag, or this big water trough, or maybe that water trough over there. So, I mean, I've got lots of places that I can put those in. I'm kind of excited, but what I wanted to talk to you about was, you know, if my husband was here, he'd be right in the middle of this helping me. Or if one of my other friends was here that knows how to do this, they'd be right in the middle of it helping me. Well, I just came to the conclusion I was going to do this. And so it's going to be me. Maybe Kaylee will help. And hopefully Baylor's at home with his mom, because I can only imagine what it would be like if I gave him those PVC cutters, you know, that cut that tubing. But I think I can do it. I'm pretty sure I can do it. And I'm pretty sure that any one of you can do it as well. And if we have to ask questions and learn together, that's what we'll do, because that's what this channel is about. It's about learning together. And I don't want any one of my friends, one of my subscribers, one of the people that watch this video, I don't want any of you to question whether you can do something. We're going to make sure that if you have a project you want to tackle, we're going to help you do it. And this is the project that I'm going to tackle, and I'm going to tackle it pretty soon. So, in fact, I ran over to the next town, and I got some, what are they? Those little, you know, clamp. They're not a clamp. They're a, well, you use them to hold conduit when you're running conduit. You know those little metal things that you put screws on each side? Yep, I'm going to use those to run them up the side of the containers, or the raised beds. And I got those, and I got some, Brianne brought me some pipe earlier, I think on the weekend. She brought me the pipe, and I'm just doing 1/2 inch because I think that will be plenty. And I got some fittings today, and so I think oh, I got glue too. See, I can do this. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get it started. I probably will do one bed at a time, just because I think it'll take one bed to figure out or how to do this. Oh, my elbow, I think I got bit. Probably a mosquito. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. And so there's going to be a few videos in the next week about how I decide what to do and how to do it. And I know that there's going to be some, you know, a learning curve. Probably a big learning curve, but we'll get it done. And I'm excited. I'm excited to know that I can do something without thinking, damn, I wish my husband was here. So you guys take care. In a few minutes, I'm going to get back on because I'm going to show you how we're going to plant those tomatoes. And I'm excited. I hope you are. All right, so earlier in the season, I told you that you need to rotate your plants. And so this year, I've got this bed right here that's behind me, and usually I put plants in it that have that need to grow up that trellis, like cucumbers. Last year, none of the plants did very well in there except for the Brussels sprouts. Yeah, never again. But anyway, so this bed, we're going to put tomatoes in it, and it's never had tomatoes in it before. It's always had cabbage or peppers or something that grows up the trellis, cucumbers or squash, something. Or even, I think we put cantaloupe in it one year. But this is the first year it'll ever have tomatoes in it. And so that's where we're going to start right now. And so I have got the bed prepared. I've put some compost in it and tilled it up, and I watered it good. And I kind of let it go for a couple of days, and I watered it really good every day so that I know that it's got moisture clear down into the bottom of the raised bed. And so we're going to start tomatoes, and I'm going to show you how that's done right now. Okay, so we're going to start with these tomatoes, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to do them. And so let me flip around my camera. So if you can tell by that hole, I probably have that hole down there 3 inches deep, and you can tell that there's already moisture clear down into the bottom of it. And so I have a little bit, I have that Osmocote. I just put it in here out of the container, and I'll just put a few, little granules of that Osmocote in the bottom of that hole. And then I'm going to take some of that soil additive that I have and just sprinkle it down in the bottom. Okay, and then here is my Epsom salts, and this is some that I had from last year, so they might be just a little clunky to start with, but I just take a little bit of sprinkle and I just put that down in there. Kind of looks blue, but it's not really. Okay, then I had a mortar and pestle, and I just take it. This is hard to do one-handed, but I'm talented. So anyway, we just grind that up. And I just switch it around a little bit, get it all mixed up. And then I just put it down in there too. And then see, you can tell that you've got the aspirin. You can tell you've got the calcium in there with the Tums. Or they're not Tums, they're just calcium carbonate. Okay, and they are colored. And they are fruit flavored, so I guess if the tomato needed them to be fruit flavored, that's what they're getting. Anyway, the reason why we do this, so the aspirin. The aspirin it helps your tomato plants from getting specific different kinds of diseases that they can get. And I can't tell you exactly what they are. You can do some research on them if you want to, but I do know that when I started using one of these 325 milligram aspirin in the bottom of each one of my tomato plants, I didn't have anything. I didn't have any problems with any kind of mostly I think like a fungus or something that tomato plants get. So I don't know. I don't know why it works. All I do is I know it does work. The calcium carbonate, tomatoes need calcium to keep them from getting blossom end rot. And that's when your tomatoes will get that circle on the bottom of them and it'll be brown. Well, part of that is from lack of calcium and part of it is for inconsistent water. So if you go ahead and put the calcium in it and you water them consistently, then they shouldn't have a problem. The Epsom salt, like I said, that is magnesium. And, it doesn't hurt them. Some people say it doesn't help them. I believe that it helps them. I think my tomatoes are much greener and grow bigger if I put some Epsom salt in them. And the Epsom salt is not salt, it's magnesium. And so a lot of different places need magnesium in their soil. So that's why I do that. This is the fertilizer that I put in to give them a boost. And then that is that soil additive that I use. I think if you need some information on it, ask me about it and I will go ahead and get that. I'll grab out the the bag of it so you can see what it is. It's not a fertilizer, it's just an additive. And then you've got that in the bottom of it, and so I just cover that up with some dirt so that the plants, and see the thing I like about it is that if you use those brighter colors, you can tell when you got everything covered up. But anyway, that's it. That's all it takes. And then you just take your tomato plant out of the 6-pack and you separate the roots like we do with every one of the plants and put it in there and backfill it. And then water it. Give it a good watering tonight after you're done. I'm going to try and get, I don't know, I think I've got 3 dozen tomato plants. And so that's what we're going to try and get planted tonight. And it's kind of getting dark and I don't know what time it is, but I'll get them done tonight. So I'll take a picture of it when it's all done and we'll see. Making any bets? Don't bet against me. Oh, shoot. Okay, so I hurried really fast and I got that bed planted. But before I talk about that bed, I want to show you what I'm looking at right now. Isn't that beautiful? That is my sunset every single night over my greenhouse. And it's just gorgeous. See those beautiful colors? Yeah, I love it. Showing right over the top of the mesa, turning all those clouds pink and orange. It's beautiful. I am so lucky to live here, and I'm so lucky to garden here. So now we're going to just talk about that bed. I guess I'll flip my camera again. So I got that bed all done, and these are Better Boys. I have probably more of the Better Boys than I have any other. And if you'll notice, I've put them pretty close. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Better Boy plants in there. And I'm sure you're looking at them thinking, wow, those aren't very big plants. If you'd seen them before I put them in, I usually take about the bottom 5 inches, 4 to 5 inches. I'll take all the leaves off that are down there and then bury them down deeper. And that's because tomatoes are probably the only plant that will start making roots off of that main stem. And so they'll be a lot more stable and they'll grow a lot better. I still have a lot of tomatoes to plant. I think that I have more Better Boys than anything else, but I do have some early girls. I have some celebrity. I have some super fantastic. And I've got some Cherokee, purple Cherokee, which are an heirloom tomato. I swore last year I'd never grow another heirloom tomato, but Brianne wanted me to, so here we go again. I have one. Yeah, I cut off that. That's what's wrong when you are your own cameraman. Especially if you're not very good at it. But I have just one cherry tomato. That's it. The kids can eat all they want off of that. They can pick it. They can have fun with it. But I'm not going to waste any more of my planting area for cherry tomatoes other than just that one. So it's getting dark. I don't know if you can tell that because the light's pretty good on this camera, but it is getting dark. So I'm going to try and plant probably one more bed of tomatoes. I'm afraid it will probably be just the rest of the Better Boys. I think I've got, I don't know, probably another 1.5 dozen of Better Boys, maybe 2 dozen. I know. I like tomatoes. I like to do stuff with tomatoes. And that's why so many tomatoes get in my garden. But this will be done by this time tomorrow night. I'll have them all done. And I will show you a picture of that and prove to you that I do something when I say I'm going to do it. Well, sometimes. So you guys have a good night. And I hope you enjoy the very last day of spring, because tomorrow it's summer and I'm excited. We'll talk to you soon.